I think I was right about Ramadan being about the big things. But sometimes the small things are the big things.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am so excited to introduce you guys to our second Heal Humanity Gala. I know it says Mansour Eliassi is the program MC, but I will be the one who will be speaking today to introduce our wonderful guest. We have Dr. Abdul El-Sayed, who we're really excited to hear from at the end of our gala. And he will talk to us, inshallah, a little bit about why it is important to be giving today, especially for the program that we want to present to you all. And of course, we have Faisal Latif, internationally renowned nasheed artist, Qur'anic reciter, and poet. I am just so excited to welcome you all to this second gala that we're having. Penny Appeal USA is an organization that really endeavors to break intergenerational poverty by giving people the capacity and the tools to change their lives. And we hope that you can help us today with that mission. You know, the online space is saturated right now. You probably have a ton of Zoom invites and other places that you could be right now, Instagram lives that you could be watching, or even, TikTok or something. But we're really happy that you take the time to spend here, inshallah, and hopefully doing good together. So I want to just introduce our organization a little bit and what we're doing today. So we are doing the Heal Humanity virtual gala today to support hospital capacity in Burundi, Somalia, Palestine, and Bangladesh. We are also going to be raising funds, hopefully, for our efforts with giving PPE to people in hospitals, in public hospitals that need our support to be able to protect themselves from COVID-19 and the crisis there. So I want to also tell you a little bit about Penny Appeal USA. If you've never heard of our organization before, we're all about small change, making a very big difference. We are in the USA, one of our branches here in the United States. Our parent organization is in the UK, Penny Appeal UK, that started now almost 10 years ago and has spread to all sorts of countries. We have chapters in Canada, Australia, South Africa, and growing all over the world with only the support of donors like you. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here. So I want to first kick off this fantastic gala the same way that we would kick it off if we were in person, which is with the recitation of the Qur'an. And we have Faisal Latif here to read from Surah Al-Insan to kick us off, inshallah. Faisal Latif is a beautiful voice, a wonderful soul, a humble man, and he travels all over the country and the world to read Qur'an, to sing nasheed, and to also perform his poetry. And we'll get to hear from him twice tonight. So I want to bring him on, inshallah, to give us the perfect start to our night. And we'll wait for him to connect. There he is. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Faisal.
Salam. How you doing?
Good. Alhamdulillah. How are you? We're really excited to hear from you and the words of Allah.
Alhamdulillah. Bismillah. Let's do this. Inshallah. I'm going to begin by reciting Surah Al-Insan, and we will carry it from there, inshallah. I believe the translation will be up on the screen for everyone to follow along. And here we go. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم هل أتى على الإنسان حين من الدهر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا إنا خلقنا الإنسان من نطفة أمشاج نبتليه فجعلناه سميعا بصيرا إنا هديناه السبيل إما شاكرا وإما كفورا إنا أعتدنا للكافرين سلاسل وأغلالا وسعيرا إن الأبرار يشربون من كأس كان مزاجها كافورا عينا يشرب بها عباد الله يفجرونها تفجيرا يوفون بالنذر ويخافون يوما كان شره مستطيرا ويطعمون الطعام على حبه مسكينا ويتيما وأسيرا إنما نطعمكم لوجه الله لا نريد منكم جزاء ولا شكورا إنا نخاف من ربنا يوما عبوسا قمطريرا فوقاهم الله شر ذلك اليوم ولقاهم نضرة وسرورا وجزاهم بما صبروا جنة وحريرا متكئين فيها على الأرائك لا يرون فيها شمسا ولا زمهريرا ودانية عليهم ظلالها وذللت قطوفها تذليلا ويطاف عليهم بآنية من فضة وأكواب كانت قوارير من فضة قدروها تقديرا ويسقون فيها كأسا كان مزاجها زنجبيلا عينا فيها تسمى سلسبيلا ويطوف عليهم ولدان مخلدون إذا رأيتهم حسبتهم لؤلؤا منثورا وإذا رأيت ثم رأيت نعيما وملكا كبيرا عاليهم ثياب سندس خضر واستبرق وحلوا أساور من فضة وسقاهم ربهم شرابا طهورا إن هذا كان لكم جزاء وكان سعيكم مشكورا إنا نحن نزلنا عليك القرآن تنزيلا فاصبر لحكم ربك ولا تطع منهم آثما أو كفورا واذكر اسم ربك بكرة وأصيلا ومن الليل فاسجد له وسبحه ليلا طويلا إن هؤلاء يحبون العاجلة ويذرون وراءهم يوما ثقيلا نحن خلقناهم وشددنا أسرهم وإذا شئنا بدلنا أمثالهم تبديلا إن هذه تذكرة فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه سبيلا وما تشاءون إلا أن يشاء الله إن الله كان عليما حكيما يدخل من يشاء في رحمته والظالمين أعد لهم عذابا أليما صدق الله العظيم جزاكم الله خيرا.
MashaAllah. Thank you, Brother Faisal. We wish that we could have you here with us in person, inshallah, for hopefully another gala, hopefully in another Ramadan. Thank you. And we're excited to have you come back on in just a few.
Looking forward to it. Bismillah.
Bismillah. So, alhamdulillah, the words of the Qur'an, they ring true in a timeless manner. And we want us to hopefully move forward today with the words of the Qur'an ringing in our hearts and in our mind, so that we can remember why we're here, which is to serve and to serve humanity in a way that glorifies God and in a way that helps us heal humanity, in a way that helps us serve humanity, because those who do not thank humans and thank the people around them and show gratitude to humans, then they do not show that same gratitude to God. So I want to move on in our program to introduce the CEO of Penny Peel USA to tell you a little bit more about what Penny Peel USA is all about. And I don't think I actually introduced myself at the very beginning of this, but my name is Yasmin Elhady. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm Yas Guru on Instagram, and I'm actually one of the founding board members of Penny Peel USA. I've since stepped down to allow for greater leadership to step up. And I'm so excited to continue my relationship with the organization because I really believe in its mission and what it does. And inshallah, our CEO, Usama Mezwi, who is now shepherding this organization into its 4th year of existence, will tell you a lot more about why this organization is special and why it's so important that we have you here listening to the very wise words of all of our speakers, inshallah.
Alaikum assalam. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Kareem. We are a third of the way in.
SubhanAllah. Doesn't it? It feels like yesterday, and yet it also feels like 25,000 years.
Yeah. It's
the most
interesting, unique Ramadan for sure.
Truly. We wish we could be in the same room as you, and we're excited to hear from you about why people should support this organization and what Penny Peel USA has been doing on the ground to help heal humanity.
Thank you, Yasmin. So we'll start with saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Yasmin Elhady, aka Yas Guru on Instagram. Yasmin, like she said, was one of our founding board members for the organization and served really fantastically as our chair for 3 years. phenomenally supporting our work, traveling all over the country, sometimes with a baby in her hand, and fundraising and raising awareness about the work that we do. So Yasmin, thank you for all your work. Of course, let me thank our viewers for joining in. Assalamu alaikum to everybody, wherever you're tuning in from. You know, subhanAllah, these Ramadan galas, these annual iftars that we host nationwide are really the highlight of my year. It's an opportunity for me annually to check in with some supporters, some communities all over the country, and to catch up in North Carolina, in Illinois, in Virginia, of course, where we are based, Maryland, and all over the country. We, of course, don't have the opportunity to do that this year, but alhamdulillah, here we are meeting and greeting you virtually. I'm really excited about tonight. We have some fantastic speakers to share their perspectives. Noha Hamid will be speaking later on. Noha personally has been to the Gambia. She's seen our work there. She's been to Palestine. She's seen various projects and programs that we run. So I'm excited for everybody to hear Noha's perspective. Also, we, of course, our keynote speaker today is Dr. Abdul El-Sayed. Dr. Abdul is one of my closest friends. We go back many, many years to when we were students. And so I'm always excited to hear Dr. Abdul's perspective on where we are with the pandemic, where we are globally with healthcare and healthcare access, and also his advice and his perspective on that. Abdul probably won't do this, so I'm going to do this for him. He's just published a fantastic book, which I encourage everybody to search after this webinar. It's called Healing Politics. And of course, you see the word healing there, completely coincidental, but there is a lot of pain in the world today. And I think the current pandemic of COVID-19 has highlighted some structural problems. And these structural problems are not just unique to the United States. They are at unfortunately, at a global level. And so if you want to find out more about maybe some of the structural root causes of why we are where we are today with access to healthcare, and what enabled something like this pandemic to really be as impactful as it has been, I recommend Abdul's book, Healing Politics. It was recently published, so make sure to get your hands on it. And of course, he also has a fantastic podcast, which is America Dissected. I'll be recording with him actually on Tuesday, and so look out for Penny Appeal's collaboration with America Dissected, which is Abdul's podcast looking at all things related to healthcare. So make sure to check it out. Let me start off by giving a brief update on where we are as an organization. Many of you have been with us on the journey since we started. Alhamdulillah, we are nearly 4 years old as an organization. We launched in July 2016. But for those of you who perhaps are new to Penny Appeal USA, first and foremost, welcome. Let me just give you a bit of a background. So as Yasmin said at the beginning, we are proudly part of a global Penny Appeal family. There are members all over the world. There are members we have a member office in Canada, in the UK, in South Africa, in Australia. We have an office in the UAE with field offices also in Pakistan and Gambia and Bangladesh and Jerusalem. And so we are, alhamdulillah, a growing global organization, a growing entity, essentially fighting poverty, trying to create the best societies we can through helping families, communities escape poverty. Since we've started, alhamdulillah, like I said, nearly 4 years ago, through your support, we've been able to raise over $10 million US. Because of your help, we've been able to support orphans in over 9 countries. We've given communities access to clean water in over 5 countries. We've responded to disasters and emergencies in Syria, in Yemen, in Bangladesh, in Indonesia, in the Bahamas, in Mozambique. The list goes on. We've also been able, because of your generosity and your support, to provide sustainable income, sustainable resources for women-led households globally, giving women-led families the resources that they need, the skills that they need, the tools that they need to be able to earn an income and not rely on charitable handouts. and education too. Our education program here in the United States and globally is about empowering the next generation of children so that they are able to get educated, so that we can get them out of the cycle of poverty that still continues to trap too many people, too many families. Now, this evening, alhamdulillah, you've joined us for Heal Humanity. Heal Humanity is the name of the range of programs we have, which essentially are about providing families and communities with access to healthcare. We're doing that again internationally, and I'll talk a little bit more about the details towards the end. But providing access to healthcare, of course, before this pandemic was life-saving. It's a question of life, a matter of life and death for too many people. If you lived in the wrong neighborhood, if you lived in the wrong part of the world, you may not have access to doctors, to clinicians, to healthcare facilities. But also, even if you lived in the right part of town, in the right part of the world, you may not be able to financially afford access to healthcare. Of course, now with this pandemic, that need is even more crucial, even more vital. Just think about this for a second. We are talking about changing our lifestyle for the foreseeable future until a vaccine is found for COVID-19. So many of us are willing, and alhamdulillah, are blessed and able to work from home, to travel less, and to change our lifestyles until we hope soon, inshallah, that we are able to find a vaccine. But hundreds and thousands and actually millions of people are dying today because of diseases, because of issues that we already have solutions to, diseases that already have vaccines, right? In 2015, the world leaders at the United Nations got together and set 17 goals called the Sustainable Development Goals, known as the SDGs. These SDGs, these Sustainable Development Goals, were really a universal call to action for three things. One, to end poverty. Two, to protect the planet. And three, to ensure that people have peace and prosperity. So end poverty, protect the planet, ensure peace and prosperity for all people. And these SDGs, the ambition was that we are going to reach these by the year 2030. Now, goal 3 of the SDGs is good health and well-being for all, because you can't really tackle poverty, you can't provide prosperity for all if people don't have access to healthcare. And so goal 3 of the SDGs is good health and well-being for all. Now, at the cornerstone of this goal is universal health coverage. The idea that everyone is able to access healthcare, regardless of where they are in the world, regardless of their ability to pay. Unfortunately, however, despite universal health coverage being a cornerstone of goal 3 of the SDGs, we are far, far, far from making it. According to the World Health Organization, at least half the world's population still lacks access to basic health facilities, to basic health services. That's half of the world's population. When they get seriously sick, when they get ill, when a woman is ready to give birth and deliver, there is no access to healthcare facilities. There is no access to healthcare services. According to the WHO, the World Health Organization, almost 100 million people are pushed into extreme poverty each year because of out-of-pocket expenses. 100 million people falling into extreme poverty because of having to pay for healthcare and having to pay for it out of pocket. Now, we all have a role to play in making sure we do better. Of course, the lion's share of this responsibility falls on government. And we, as a humanitarian sector, are doing and need to do more to put pressure on governments to make sure that everybody has access to healthcare facilities. It's essential, it's important for governments to do that. But we also have a role to play. We being individuals, we being humanitarian non-profit organizations. And that's why tonight I am asking you, and Yasmin will be asking you, to please contribute generously. You can make a zakat eligible contribution to support our range of healthcare programs. Under Heal Humanity, we have a range of programs all over the world. In Palestine, we are supporting the only neonatal facility in the country. We're helping them, Al Maqasid Hospital, to expand so that they're able to see more premature babies, so that they're able to save more lives. And as I speak, you may see a pop-up on your screen. Please give whatever you can this evening. Give whatever you can, whether it's a one-time donation, a recurring donation, whether it's $10 or $15, whether it's $100 or $5,000, whatever you're able to give tonight. I hope, inshallah, that you won't leave this webinar without contributing. So in Palestine, we are supporting the neonatal units and expanding that ward. We're also providing equipment and supplies into Gaza to help them cope with the COVID-19 outbreak. And we're working with the health department to ensure they have the resources that they need to cope. In Bangladesh, we've been providing access to primary healthcare to tens of thousands of individuals, Rohingya refugees who fled Myanmar into Bangladesh. We've been there now for a couple of years, providing them access to essential medicine, doctors, and healthcare services. In Aleppo Governorate of Syria, in the northwest of Syria, we're working with 8 hospitals and 9 public health centers, again, giving them access to tests, protective kits, protective equipment to make sure that we are decreasing the spread. We're doing trainings in the camps, teaching children how they can stay healthy and how they can follow and practice hygiene practices to ensure we decrease the spread of COVID-19. We're working in Somalia, building health facilities. We're sending medical supplies into Sudan. In Mozambique, in Uganda, we are helping them in their fight against COVID-19. So all of these various projects and programs fall under the umbrella of Heal Humanity. And I hope again tonight, inshallah, that you will consider giving a contribution, making a zakat eligible contribution. You can do so on the platform. You may see a pop-up right now as I speak. You can do so on our website at pennyappealusa.org/heal. So pausa.org/heal. If you prefer the phone, you can call our office 202, that's 202-851-2112. 202-851-2112. And our team are ready to take your call and to take your generous contributions. The reality is that too many people continue to die, like I said at the beginning. Women are dying while giving birth, during delivery, unnecessarily. Malaria still takes too many lives. Children under the age of 5 are dying because of diarrhea, because of dehydration. And so what we try to do with Heal Humanity is make sure that we are there in people's moment of need. We are responding with essential services, healthcare access, medicine, medication, medical advice, of course, referring people when the case is very serious and giving them access to transportation so that we're able to refer them to the expertise that they need. Of course, Penny Appeal also does Orphan Kind work, Orphan Kind program where we look after orphans in over 9 countries. We provide people with access to healthcare. We give people a means to earn an income, either through our livestock project, which is providing families and communities with cattle and livestock so that they're able to earn an income. But of course, if you have bad health, if you have poor health, you're unable to take advantage of all of these other programs, right? You can't get an education if you're not feeling well. If you're sick, if you're in bed, getting to school is not the priority. Again, it's very hard to earn an income for your family if you're sick, if you're unwell, if you don't have the physical strength to be able to go out and earn an income. That program is going to be really no good, no help, right? Healthcare is a blessing. It's a ni'mah. It's something many of us, alhamdulillah, we take for granted, really, having good health. And so Heal Humanity is really at the cornerstone of our work to eradicate poverty in a holistic way. We have to give people access to healthcare. From the moment that we are born, we need vaccinations. We need healthcare. We need our mothers to be looked after so that we're able to grow up healthy. We need nutrition. We need advice. All of that plays a massive part in making sure that people are able, inshallah, in a sustainable way to escape poverty. Because once you're healthy, then you go to school. Once you're healthy, you can earn an income. So let me wrap up by saying thank you again for joining us. I wish, of course, that this was in person. Inshallah, we hope that this pandemic will pass swiftly. We pray for those of you watching that your families, inshallah, have been spared both the health and the economic impact of this current pandemic. And so thank you for tuning in. Please do contribute generously this evening. Wherever you can give, whatever you can do, whether it's $5 or $15 or $20, you can donate on the website. That's pausa.org. You can call the office at 202-851-2112. And I'll hand over back to Yasmin. Thank you, Yasmin.
Thank you, Osama, and thank you so much for all of your service. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it weigh heavy on your scales, inshallah, on the day of judgment. And really, under Osama's leadership is the only way that Penny Pill USA has been able to grow this way. And he couldn't do it without the supporters out there like you. So really heed what he's saying. If you're listening, if you're watching, even a small donation makes a huge difference in someone else's life. And you can donate at the beautiful green button that you see down there. And if you're watching us on Facebook Live or another platform, you can easily just go to pausa.org/heal.
Yes, let me just say, sorry, that as you know, our slogan is small change.
Big difference.
Big difference. And this fantastic journey that we've had 4 years in the US, 10 years globally, it hasn't come through the multi-million-dollar donations, right? Our model is that everybody can give. Everyone is able to contribute $10, $15, $1 a day, right? A commitment to give $1 a day. Alhamdulillah, that model of small change, big difference has worked really well. And so this evening, we hope people, inshallah, will be inspired to give.
We sure do. And that model is also a prophetic model. So we know, because there's an authentic hadith related to us by Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, that he really preferred us to do something small and consistent better than for us to do something big and then kind of few and far between. So we can make that easy to have a monthly recurring donation, which all you have to do is just click on this donate button here, the green button at the bottom, to be able to give that. And you can make it automatic, make it easy for you, and to help someone in a really big way. So thank you, Osama. We're going to move on in our program, inshallah, and hear from Faisal Latif again, the nasheed artist, internationally renowned, who will be performing for us nasheed now, and maybe some of his own work as a poet. I'm so excited to hear you, Faisal. Here we go. And then after Faisal, inshallah, we'll be hearing from our ambassador for Penny Pill USA, one of the many, Nuha Hamid, who's really such a fantastic supporter of the organization and a wonderful human. And you can check out her new YouTube page as well. So Faisal, whenever you're ready, we're ready to accept, inshallah, the blessings. We'll wait for him. In the meantime, I want to talk a little bit about just kind of some of the things that Osama mentioned, specifically that the hospitals that we are providing services for, essential services for, are some of the hospitals are in the greatest amount of pressure. They are under a tremendous amount of, financial pressure, societal pressure. Like he said, we are supporting the only hospital in Palestine, the Maqasid Hospital, that has a neonatal unit, for example. So just understand that something small that you're giving can make a huge difference in someone else's life in the places that are most needed around the world. Hey, Faisal, assalamu alaikum. Welcome back.
Thank you. Wa alaikum salam. How you doing?
Good. How are you? Excited to hear you.
Alhamdulillah, not too bad. All right, Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much. I'm going to get going then. Here we go. So before I begin, inshallah, let me just introduce myself real quick. So my name is Faisal Latif. I am known for, on Instagram, I started off as a reciter. So I'm a Hafidh al-Qur'an, alhamdulillah. And I began my Instagram page by uploading recitations. And slowly that went off into different directions. I became a singer because I used to sing as well. And I really wanted to incorporate that into what I do. And I'm a poet, alhamdulillah. And I recently came back from Egypt. I was studying overseas, so I'm a student of knowledge as well, alhamdulillah. And that's just some of my fortes. Alhamdulillah. So here we go. The first thing I'm going to do, inshallah, is I'm going to begin by, I always begin by sending salam on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we will begin by singing Ya Nabi Salam Alayka, inshallah, and I will carry on from there. Bismillah. أنت نور الله فجرا جئت بعد العسر يسرا ربنا أعلاك قدرا يا إمام الأنبياء أنت في الوجدان حي أنت للعينين ضي أنت عند الحوض ري أنت هاد وصفي يا حبيبي يا محمد يا نبي سلام عليك يا رسول سلام عليك يا حبيب سلام عليك صلوات الله عليك. With submission, faith, and patience, you conveyed the noble message, brought us light through your guidance. Peace be upon you, my beloved. أيها المختار فينا زادنا الحب حنينا جئتنا بالخير دينا يا ختام المرسلين يا حبيبي يا محمد يا نبي سلام عليك يا رسول سلام عليك يا حبيب سلام عليك صلوات الله عليك. That is Ya Nabi Salam Alayka, most commonly known by Maher Zain. And I always begin by sending salam on the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So, alhamdulillah, we did that. And before I carry on, I hope that everybody's fast is going amazing. I hope everyone's Ramadan is going beautifully. You know, we're at home, and I pray that this Ramadan is everyone's best Ramadan. You know, it's just a time of really, you know, being introspective, using it as a chance to grow, you know, spiritually and just in a worldly manner. You know, if I think one of the best ways that I've been able to really utilize this time is focus on building myself, so that when it's time to go back out into the world, hopefully I'm better, a better human being. But the next track I'm gonna sing, inshallah, is an original. It's about to be the 1 year anniversary for it. I released it last Ramadan, and it's called Endless Confusion. If you want to listen to it afterwards, you can check it out on YouTube. Here we go. Endless confusion plays on my mind. I know all my wrongs, but I can't turn them right. Endless confusion plays on my mind. Oh Allah, please guide this broken heart of mine. I see all your signs, but I turn a blind eye, spiraling down in the spiritual decline. Oh Allah, oh Allah, Allah, Allah. Oh Allah, 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 Ilahi. What would you say to your Lord about why you went astray? What would you say to your Lord about all those wasted days? What would you say to your Lord? So few of those days you prayed. He's always waiting for us, but we refuse to be saved. So busy drowning in sin. So many truths we've betrayed. So many people we've hurt. Never thinking about the day, that day of recompense, when our deeds are weighed. Yeah, Wajid, please never ever let me stray. Ya Majid, bring me under your mercy shade. Endless confusion plays on my mind. I know all my wrongs, but I can't turn them right. Endless confusion plays on my mind. Oh Allah, please guide this broken heart of mine. I see all your signs, but I turn a blind eye. Spiraling down in the spiritual decline. Oh Allah, oh Allah, Allah, Allah. Oh Allah, 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 Ilahi. And that is called Endless Confusion. It's on my YouTube channel if you guys would like to check it out. The video, it was filmed in the UK actually last Ramadan while we were fasting. And you can check it out on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Faisal Latif, my name itself, that's it. And the video is there, Endless Confusion. And I'm going to end the night off, or the evening off, before third time, with an original piece of mine. It is a poetry piece. This is going to be going in my book, inshallah, that I'm currently working on, and it is in progress. This piece's name is called Intent, and it's pretty much a conversation between me and Allah. And it doesn't necessarily just have to be with how I feel when I'm talking to Allah, or how I feel when I'm doing something good. This piece can be related to anything, whether you do good work publicly that people, recognize you for, or it could be something as simple as you giving in charity. This is the conversation that I have with myself a lot of the times. So this piece is called Intent, and here we go. What am I doing this for? Is it my Lord that I seek? Is it the pleasure of people? Am I focused on a temporary feat? Is my mind in the right place? Heartbeat at beat. Wasted too many minutes, my clock aimlessly on repeat. See, I fear showing up on the day, having lived my own deceit, being among those who are destined, having deeds only worthy of the heat. What am I doing this for? Is it my Lord that I seek? Do I steal from my actions? Am I my own thief? Will I be from the rewarded, or a means of my own defeat? And if this is my reality, to miss out on your divinity, then I beg you now, my Lord, take this fame away from me. 'Cause see, I'm a superficial slave. I only remember you when I struggle, when the world's got me down and I'm feeling hurtful. I don't care of how neglectful my heart has become superficial. I opened 2 gifts this morning. They were my eyes. You had mercy on me, so now I realize. You returned my soul even though my heart hasn't been alive. You gave me another chance, and now I fantasize of being close to you for eternity, beholding you with these very eyes. But the struggle is real, consciousness surreal. My Lord, I know you know how I feel. Please don't ever let this heart be sealed, or blind to my madness. You know what I conceal. Please keep me hidden, my sins unrevealed. Teach me sincerity from my deeds I don't want to steal. To you, your mercy, love, and guidance do I kneel. In humbling myself to you, only then can I heal. What is your intent? And that is the final piece. I want to leave everybody with one small little gem, inshallah, before I go. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Qur'an, it is the month of the Qur'an, so let me just share one little verse with you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Qur'an, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. None of us will attain true piety or righteousness until we give from that which we love. Now, being at home, I know everybody's got their own struggles, subhanAllah. I know some people have been trying to figure out, all right, my events got canceled. Where am I going to get paid from now? I'm not working. My job is not open. How am I making money? This time is really the time where money has become dear to us because we all have responsibilities, right? But this is the time when you are going through your struggles, to really show Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, Ya Rab, I recognize the fact that you are a Razaq. I recognize the fact that you are a Razaq, and all my money, the food on the table, anything, any blessing that comes my way isn't necessarily from my doing. My job is the means. Whatever effort I put in is the means. But ultimately, Ya Rab, you are a Razaq. And I know that if I give this money which you have provided me, if I give from this, I know, Lord, that you are going to increase me. Like Yasmin said earlier, and like we said yesterday in yesterday's gala, that giving charity never decreases wealth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always returns it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam where on the day of judgment, we're told that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, أَيْنَ الْمُتَحَابُّونَ بِجَلَالِي? Where are those who loved me, who loved each other for my sake? Because on this day, on Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah is speaking, on this day, I want to give you, all of you people who loved each other for my sake, I want to give you my shade on this day when there's no other shade. And we are right here in this gala right now because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants that shade for us.
Yeah.
We, in giving tonight, we are showing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, Ya Rab, I love my brother or sister on the opposite side of the world what I love for myself. So whatever you do, give whatever you can tonight, inshallah. And don't let this night end without giving. Jazakallahu khairan.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Faisal Latif. Beautiful words, fantastic reminders, and really just a beautiful voice. And, you know, to soothe our hearts, we will listen to you, inshallah. Go to his YouTube page, follow him on Instagram, and give him a lot of love because hopefully, you know, we love him for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because he is reminding us of him. So thank you, Faisal.
Jazakallah khair. I appreciate you. Assalamu alaikum.
I appreciate you too. So I am so excited that we are going to try to finish this thing before iftar, guys. Don't worry. You are not going to go hungry. I am not going to be that uncle who's standing between you and your meal. I swear. So I'm going to move it along. The next, well, you know, you heard him. I don't need to give you a little fundraising pitch because, look, I mean, Brother Faisal Latif did it all, mashallah. So donate at the bottom here. Here's the green button. Donate today. pausa.org/heal. If you are watching us on Facebook Live or anywhere else, you can just go to the website. Our next fantastic, I'm so excited, guest is Noha Hamid, who is one of our brand ambassadors, one of Penipil USA's ambassadors, who went to a trip overseas that we want to talk to her about. We're really excited. She is a blogger, someone who has a huge Instagram following, and who is just starting a YouTube page that you should check out. She's somebody who I really think is a beautiful person inside and out. We're really excited to have you, Noha, to join us to discuss a little bit about your experience in seeing with your own eyes the people that are affected positively by Penipil USA's work on the ground. So I want to introduce Noha Hamid, hopefully coming to us from, I believe, Tampa, Florida. She's a jet set traveler usually, but COVID-19 has grounded Miss Hamid. But yeah, I'm really excited to hear from you. And I want to talk to her specifically. She went to Palestine, actually, and she saw some of the female empowerment programs that we've got going on there that we've raised money before for. So whenever Noha's ready, I would love to talk to her a little bit about that experience. I know she was planting some trees there. And so tonight, what we're raising money for are the hospitals are in Palestine, and also for PPE, for personal protective equipment that is going to be going to places like Palestine, but also right here at home in the United States. And it's pretty exciting because Penipil USA has actually partnered with Islamic Relief as well as Imana, which is Islamic Medical Association North America, to get 500,000 PPEs out. Hi, Noha, assalamu alaikum.
How are you, Sanam?
How are you?
In the beginning, that's why you had to talk about me the whole time.
Yeah, I just had to just keep loving on you. No, that was 100% voluntary.
I did that on purpose, so you can just say everything you need to say.
So how are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good. I hope everyone else is doing well. You know, I'm trying to make the most out of this situation.
We're trying to make it, you know. So the last trip, talking about the last trip that you went on with Penipil USA, and I believe it was to Palestine.
Yes, it was. Oh my God. Like if iftar was another hour later, I would do it just to talk to you guys all about Palestine. and just my trip with Penny Appeal. It was absolutely like emotional, amazing, literally just indescribable. Like it was such a life-changing trip to see the people there and how they live and how positive they were and just how they lived with their certain situation. And it was so eye-opening to be able to experience that firsthand.
Incredible. I know that you were planting trees there.
Yes.
And that's amazing. But you also looked at some of the female empowerment programs that we have, including the rooftop gardens.
Yes, yes.
For women. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
So in Palestine, as you know, that they don't have much land that they can work with, so they have to work with what they can. So what they have is a rooftop garden, where it's a really amazing system where they grow it on the rooftop, and there's like some type of tube. I don't want to butcher the name of it, so I'm just going to explain it. It's like a tube with soil, and there's water, and then they have the green homes, and they plant these amazing, delicious, and I ate them myself, like crops and vegetables and tomatoes and like peppers and all these different types of fruits and vegetables, and they grow it at the top, and they're able to sell that themselves. And they're able to make their own income. They're able to take their kids to school. They're able to feed their families with the rooftop gardens that they have.
That's so incredible. And that kind of is totally what Penny Appeal USA is all about, giving people the tools to lift themselves up, not to put some Band-Aid on something, but to give them sustainable solutions to break out of intergenerational poverty.
Yes, yes, definitely.
And maybe you can tell us a little bit about why you chose Penny Appeal USA to link up with as an ambassador.
For sure. Well, initially I got introduced to Penny Appeal USA through my husband, Ryan. He used to work with them. We are huge fans of Penny Appeal, mainly because of their mission and vision, and of course the staff and all the people that work there. So Penny Appeal, I heard this from my husband like over and over again. So I have this little pitch. It's like long-term sustainable solutions through like Penny Appeal literally will help people get on their feet through those long-term sustainable solutions. So it's not like you're not pitying the person. You're not telling them, oh, I'm so sorry, like I'll give you a check this month or next month. It's more like you are healthy, you are alive, you are great, you can do this yourself. Let me just give you a couple tools to do that. So something that I saw that in was in Gambia with the it's called Income Generation, actually, the program. It was amazing. It was such an amazing idea. And I was like, these women, it's a huge group of women that are either widowed or single, and they're able to grow their own crops and sell it and make money. And it's like, they're able to do it. Like they're able to do it themselves, and they're so strong and powerful. And I love the concept of taking them out of that intergenerational poverty and having them just stand up on their own.
Breaking the cycle. And you talked a little bit about the Gambia. I would love to hear about that, because I know you also went to the Gambia. That was the trip you took before Palestine. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about, because what it sounds like is it's empowering people.
Oh my gosh.
What
sure.
is empowering people.
Yeah, it's not just like putting a little Band-Aid on the solution. It's literally fixing the problem and empowering the people that are able to do it themselves, and they're on their feet. They're ready to go. Like they don't need our help with later on. That's it. We fixed that area. Now we're going to fix the next area. We're empowering them to do what they're able to do on their own, regardless.
Beautiful.
With Gambia specifically, again, like there's so much to say, but Gambia was probably like, I would say the top most life-changing trip. I was actually crying the whole flight home, just from how emotional it was. And to say like they helped us more than we helped them. And it's crazy to say that, because, we're going on a mission trip, we're trying to see what we can do and raise money. But if anything, they've helped us a lot more than we've helped them, because they are so happy with the smallest amount of anything. And it really like makes us think, especially during this time, during Ramadan, we're hungry and, we're bored and, we can't go out, we can't do this. But at the end of the day, like we are so blessed. And if I just had a little bit of the mentality that they did, I would be extremely happy 24/7. As well as the work that Penny Appeal does there is quite extraordinary.
Thank you so much, Noha, for your time, and for all of the fantastic work that you've done on the ground, being our eyes and ears down in the trenches, working with the people who need it most, and like you said, learning from them.
Yes, alhamdulillah. It's my honor, honestly. It's my honor.
So please follow Noha on all platforms, but give her YouTube channel some love.
I just started my YouTube.
Random thing. If I follow you, I'm be like, subscribe.
Thank you.
Love you.
Thank you. Love you
Be
too.
well.
Thank you.
And my best to Ryan, your husband, who's very prominent on the YouTube channel.
Actually, right here. Definitely. He's the star of the show.
Hello, Ryan. Take care.
Take care.
Take care. Salam.
Oh, we just heard him. See you later, Ryan.
Salam.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. Alhamdulillah. So, I am so thrilled to be talking to people who, like Noha, have actually seen our programs at work. And she said something that was really poignant right now. She said that they are so happy with the smallest blessings. And we don't really understand the amount of blessings that we have until we go there and see how difficult life can truly be. And that really kind of reminds me about what the Qur'an says in Surah Al-Takathur. ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, verily you will be asked on the day of judgment about the blessing that you're living in. The blessing that we are living in tremendous blessing. If you are watching this, you've got internet, you have security in your home, that in and of itself you will be asked about. Don't think that that's not a test. That in and of itself is the test. What will you do with it? What will you do? I was listening just recently to a fantastic. It's like a podcast, but it's basically an epilogue to the book Revelation, which is a book about the Sirah, about the life of the Prophet Muhammad SAW by Dr. Miraj Muhyiddin. And in it, he was talking about how his teachers taught him how important it was that if you get aman, the idea of amana or aman, right? The fact that you have security in your life is such an incredible blessing that people can't fully fathom, that his teachers taught him that the single most important way to show gratitude as a Muslim was to give back if you have that security. Just if you have security, it was so important to give back and to serve humanity. And that's what Penny Peel USA is about. And that's what healing humanity is all about. I want to talk to you today about what a gift that you could give, no matter how small, it's not insignificant. No matter how small, it's not insignificant. To just put it into this box right here. I want to talk to you about how a gift like that can actually not only change the community around you, because that should be your number one intention, but actually to change your own life in huge ways. Like Usama, as we said, our CEO, I have traveled this country, sometimes with baby in hand, baby in tow, to try to seek from people the excitement of giving, the importance of making sure to contribute just a bit of the blessing that you have, to pay it forward, to give it to other people. And what I found was that it was very, very important that people understood how their life could change, because my life changed so drastically by giving. And I'm going to just turn on the light in my room because it's getting very dark in here. One moment, please. I hope that's better. I was told to turn on the light. So I just want you guys to know that in my own life, giving changed my life so dramatically that I felt like I had to share that with other people. So I remember when Imam Siraj Wal-Haj came to my school, I was just a young student and I was very broke, like super broke. And he asked everybody in the room to give. Everybody in the room to give. So I'm going to ask the same here. Everyone in this crowdcast should give, even if it's small. But he actually wanted us to give something big. He wanted us to give until it hurt a little bit, until our ego broke, until our fear broke. The fear that will our wealth really be decreased? Like if I see my bank flow getting low, am I going to get like anxious about that? He wanted us to break that anxiety and to move forward into a space where we actually believe that God was in control, total control, and would multiply the blessings. And he asked everyone in that room to give $1,000. Now, I had never seen $1,000 in my life at that time. And he asked everyone to give until it hurt. And I did. It took me 1.5 years to fulfill that pledge. I paid it slowly. And you can do that by contributing on a monthly basis here. You can do that in pieces from your pledge. And I remember at the end of the 1.5 years, I gave my last payment. And I found I was kind of lost in my life. I didn't know what my next step was after undergrad. I could not afford grad school, but I knew that I needed to go to grad school with my, I had like undergraduate degrees and degrees that did not work in getting a job without extra education. I was a neuroscience and behavioral biology major and also Middle Eastern history. So it's like, what job would hire me? So anyways, alhamdulillah, I found out that same week that I gave my last donation, I found out that I got a full ride to go do my master's. And I would have the same dream of Imam Siraj al-Hajj telling me to give until it hurt. I would have that dream when I was completing my master's, and I gave, and I got the phone call from my law school saying, hey, you got a full ride to go to law school. And I would later have the same dream when I applied to go do my master's at Princeton University, and I got a full ride to go do my master's. And I really believe that that $1,000 donation turned into an almost $300,000 return because I gave when it was difficult. So I know right now we're experiencing intense difficulty with COVID-19. And what we're asking you is to help people with a basic human right, the right to healthcare, the ability to feel well, the ability to be able to have the proper tools to fight COVID-19, and in the areas of the country and the world where we are the most vulnerable. Hospitals in Burundi and Somalia and Palestine and Bangladesh, and also places in Mozambique, Syria, Palestine, in the United States that need the PPE so desperately. Your donations today can help save and change lives. And in the process of me going around the country, I have had my DMs flooded on Instagram, the Yas Guru on Instagram, with the most beautiful stories. So, Faisal Latif so aptly, he mentioned Ayah 92 of Surah 3 Ali Imran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. You will not attain righteousness. You will not attain closeness to me until you give of what you love, right? Until you give of what is close to your heart, until you give that away, I will replace it with something better. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises that. And I remember I got a DM from a girl who, she actually came to see me at a show, and I had made my fundraising pitch and she gave, and she was telling me, I'm really kind of down. I've come out of a divorce. My parents were really not very supportive of me coming out of the divorce due to the taboo and the heaviness associated. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I gave, I gave. And I really just want to find love. I really just want another chance. And I don't know who would marry me after, my divorce. I don't know where I'll find a good man, but I gave with the hope that it would change my life. Well, instead of DMing me back later on, she actually showed up to one of my other shows. And she pulled me aside. She said, I'm the one who DM'd you about, and then she told me her story. I said, yeah. She said, I just want you to know that I got married recently. I was like, that's amazing. I was so ecstatic. But she was like, not only did I get married, I got married in Mecca. And she showed me pictures from her nikah, her katb kitab in Mecca and Mukarramah. Look how much she attained that bitter. She attained that closeness to Allah, right? She attained it because Allah, He drew her so close, He took her to His house. That's how close. And I want to just now show a fundraising video to show you where your money would be going to hopefully change someone else's life, but to also change your own life. And I'll show now this beautiful video of all of the great work that we're doing around the world.
In these uncertain times, our goal at Penny Appeal USA is simple: to help heal humanity. We believe that no one should go without proper care, and we are working hard to save lives from sickness and disease around the world. You'll find us in the wake of an emergency, responding to a pandemic that comes without notice and wreaks havoc on everyone in its path. You'll find us in refugee camps where families have been forgotten, and in remote parts of the world where people seek a better life. Penny Appeal USA is committed to working with you to transform communities by making healthcare accessible to everyone. That's why today we're in Syria sanitizing refugee camps and providing hygiene training to help protect the most vulnerable from COVID-19. It's why we're in Bangladesh running health clinics that have treated tens of thousands of Rohingya refugees. It's why we're in Somalia and Sudan, where we've built clinics and are sending life-saving medical supplies so that patients don't have to travel long and perilous journeys for treatment. It's why we're in Palestine supporting the only neonatal unit in the country, caring for prematurely born babies and giving them a chance at life they never would have had. It's why we need your support now more than ever, so that together we can give more people that chance at life that they wouldn't have had without you. And what a gift to give this Ramadan. Our world may look different today, but our mission has not changed. Wherever there is pain, we aim to comfort. Wherever there is loss, we aim to rebuild. Wherever humanity is hurting, we aim to heal. Join us in healing humanity this Ramadan.
Beautiful. That beautiful video is a snapshot of what your donations can do, what important work even the smallest of your donations can do. And, I can show you now the different price points that we have. At $12,000, about $1,000 a month, we can have life-saving medical equipment given to hospitals, things like respirators, things like important cardiac machines. At $6,000, which is about $500 a month, we can have patient monitors. And these are very important, especially in that neonatal unit for babies, to monitor every single one of their breaths. You can make that happen at just $500 a month or $6,000 for the year. And if you have a household, maybe you can come together to try to make this money. Maybe you have 2 kids and each one of those kids is going to be responsible, a way to teach your children the responsibility of charity for a portion of that. And that way you guys are working together. At $1,200, we are able to give surgical supplies to hospitals, and that's at $100 a month. And you can just push the green button here at the bottom, donate today, pausa.org/heal, to be able to have a recurring donation so that you can pay these amounts on a monthly basis. And then $600, we can have a life-saving medications that if somebody has come far away, like in Burundi or Somalia, from their small village, and they've come to a hospital that's functioned, to give them the capacity to be able to actually treat these patients, they can't get their medications, then that's a problem. And just at $600, which is just $50 a month, that's less than, for a lot of us, the coffee that we consume, right? That's half of the amount of money that we pay for our internet bill. At $600, you can help people with their life-saving medicines at just $50 a month. So easy. You just hit the donate button, donate today, pausa.org/heal. You can also call at 202-851-2112, as our CEO, Osama Mazwi, said, if you're more comfortable calling instead of inputting your information online. Also, at $360, finally, we can contribute to the PPE, the life-saving PPE, to help protect the people who are most vulnerable, our amazing healthcare workers, our doctors and our nurses that are on the front lines. And in the United States, that would go to hospitals in areas most affected, like Chicago, New York, and New Orleans, to public hospitals. And we have partnered with other organizations like Islamic Relief and Imana to make that a reality in the United States, but also in Syria, where we're working and having life-saving work in Palestine, in Mozambique, in Pakistan. So please, even if you think it's something small, it's actually huge. It may weigh heavy on your scales. May it be the thing that gives you continuous charity even after you've passed. We know that only 3 things will actually go with us into the ground, into our grave. Our alhamdulillah, our dua, the prayer of the children that we leave behind, or the people that we mentor, beneficial knowledge that we leave behind, and finally, sadaqah jariyah, which is the giving that is continuously doing good. And can you imagine helping relieve someone's illness and giving them the health to be able to worship, the health to be able to do good, the health to be able to be alive and to be in remembrance? The gifts are immeasurable. The way that you will be gifted, the bounty is immeasurable. I'll give you another story of somebody who DM'd me. This person was out of a job, both her and her husband. And I remember, I had given a story about how difficult it was for me to come out of my divorce. I had nothing. I had to sell an item of mine to give, because my dad said, give and makes very specific dua for the man that you want, for the husband that you want. So I did that. And subhanAllah, that man came as if he had been fashioned from heaven. And this woman, she told me, I had to sell something of mine as well because both me and my husband were unemployed. 2 weeks later, I got a job that gave me twice my salary of the first job that I lost. And her husband was so enamored by this, like Prophet Zakaria alayhi salam, when he sees Maryam alayhi salam in Surah Al-Imran in chapter 3, which we already covered, hopefully, if you're completing the Qur'an this Ramadan. When he sees Maryam having fruits out of season, he asks Allah for a child out of season, and Allah gives him Yahya alayhi salam. And her husband was so enamored by the fact that this happened that he himself also gave. And guess what? He also got a job. So I'm telling you guys that miracles, the miracles that we see every single day, these aren't isolated incidents. These aren't accidents. Nothing is accidental. And Allah's mercy and his bounty are immeasurable. His abundance is immeasurable. And finally, I will just leave you with Ayah 85 from Surah An-Nisa. من يشفع شفاعة حسنة يكون له نصيبا منها. Meaning, the person who intercedes in a good cause, the person who gives to a good cause and intercedes in something good, then Allah will reward them every bit of good that came from that cause. Remember that. Think about the blessing, the immeasurable blessing. When you give someone a chance at life, imagine every good thing that comes from that is going to come back to you. May you all have the heart to just click on this donate today button, the green button at the bottom, pausa.org heal, to give even the smallest amount and to give on a monthly basis so that we can fulfill our pledge to the Prophet ﷺ in authentic hadith from Aisha that we do something small and consistent instead of just doing the big items or the big ticket things and then kind of walking away. I want to introduce, inshallah, our next guest, our final guest, so that you can get to your iftar. I know, you're hungry. So am I. Our next guest is such an esteemed, he's a political commentator. He's a doctor. He's such an incredible human being. And I want to just read his bio really quick. Dr. Abdul El-Sayed is a physician, epidemiologist, public health expert, progressive activist. He's the chair of Southpaw, Michigan, and political contributor right now at CNN. You can see him on CNN regularly. He's the author of the book that CEO Osama Mezwi talked about, Healing Politics, calling for a politics of empathy to cure our epidemic of insecurity. He is also the host of America Dissected, a very important podcast on crooked media, which goes beyond the headlines to explore what really matters for our health. He is a voice that we need, especially today with the COVID-19 crisis. So excited to see you, Dr. El-Sayed. Thank you for joining us.
Jazakumullahu khair, Yasmin. Thank you so much for having me. I want to say thank you to Usama, to the entire Penny Appeal team, and to all of you who are joining us today. I know that Ramadan during social distancing, there are a lot of things, ironically, that you could be doing, even if you're not, at the masjid or getting ready to engage with folks. But I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you, and we're so excited to hear from you.
Barakallahu fikum. I want to talk today about the pandemic, yes, but I want to put it in some context. I don't have to tell you that this has fundamentally flipped the tenor, the tone, the fabric of American life and life for people all over the world. But I do want to dig in a little bit. I'm an epidemiologist by training and a physician. And my pathway into this career really has a lot to do with some of the things that we're talking about, the deep chasm disparities in access to a long, healthy life. Now, you think about what a pandemic does to something like that. But for me, I grew up just outside of Detroit, in Metro Detroit. And the summers would have me going 15 hours to Egypt. And in Egypt, I would get the opportunity in this low-income, working-class part of Alexandria, where my father grew up, to hang out with my grandparents, my aunts and uncles, and my cousins. And while I was there, my main caretaker was my teta Suad. And my grandmother, she was the wisest, most intelligent human being I have yet to meet in my life. But she also never got to go to school. She had 8 kids, 2 of whom died before the age of 1. And I think about my cousins, who are my own flesh and blood, were separated by 1 generation's difference. Their lives in Egypt are fundamentally different than the life that I, alhamdulillah, get to lead. And one of them, in 2017, actually Ramadan in 2017, Allah yarhamu, he passed away in a car accident, driving a cab. And you think about the circumstances of my life, the circumstances of his life, that difference in access to life expectancy. I want you to think about what a pandemic will do to that. I came home. I decided that I wanted to do something about that deep disparity in access to a long, healthy life and decided I wanted to be a doctor. Except for I came to appreciate that medicine in America oftentimes is simply a proclivity for the very rich. 10% of Americans don't have healthcare at all. Another 50% of Americans have their healthcare behind a paywall. I went into public health, seeing as that I knew that 10-year life expectancy gap, that I could travel in 15 hours to Egypt, I could travel that same 10-year life expectancy gap going just 25 minutes south into the city of Detroit. And I wanted to do something about that problem. And that's what led me into a career in public health. Alhamdulillah, when I was 30 years old, I got the opportunity to rebuild that health department in the city of Detroit. And my job was to rebuild a health department that, get this, had been shut down when the city was going through municipal bankruptcy and state takeover of its finances. There was a law passed in Michigan that basically said that in cities that were at risk of bankruptcy, the state could appoint a emergency manager over those cities and take over their entire financial system and make decisions on their behalf, basically taking away their right to democratic self-determination. That's what happened in the city of Detroit. It's also what happened in the city of Flint. And we all know what happened there with the changing of the water and the poisoning of 100,000 people, 9,000 kids suffered lead poisoning because of that choice. But in Detroit, one of the decisions that was made was to shut down a health department. My job was to come in and rebuild that health department. 5 years later, right now, Detroit is one of the epicenters of the COVID-19 pandemic that is affecting the globe, right? And the city of Detroit accounts for about a third of all of the state of Michigan's cases. And the stories I hear from my friends in the city are dire. One of my friends just last week lost his aunt on one day and then lost his mother the next day. And you ask yourself, why is this pandemic affecting Detroit so much worse than it's affecting other communities across the state of Michigan? Well, I want you to think a little bit about something. As an epidemiologist, I'm taught to think about a pandemic as being more than just a pathogen. It's about the way that a pathogen affects a group of people, right? The hosts, as we call them, in an environment. And so it's the pathogen, the host, and the environment. And if you want to understand why a pandemic happens, it's usually not as much about the pathogen. It usually has a lot more to do with the host and the environment. And if you think about Detroit, a city that's 85% Black, and you think about the decisions that have been made about access to basic resources in communities like Detroit, you get the realization that the environment has been beating up on the host for a very long time. And then in comes the pandemic. But in Detroit in particular, I want to walk you through how that happens. Well, we all know that COVID-19 has a proclivity. It's far more deadly in people who have underlying chronic diseases, diseases like asthma and diabetes and hypertension and cardiovascular disease. And why would it be so much, would those diseases be so much more common in a community like Detroit that's 85% Black and extremely low income, the poorest city in America? Well, think about the set of choices that have been made about who lives where, about what jobs people have access to. In the context of this pandemic, we know that the overall advice is to stay home. But staying at home itself is a privilege. If you work an $11 hour a job, then your choice is between staying home and potentially saving a life versus going out and saving your livelihood. That is an impossible choice that Detroiters have to make all the time. And then you think about access to basic resources in the city of Detroit. Why is it that diabetes and cardiovascular disease are so common? Well, the ability to use mass transit in a city like Detroit is extremely limited. We don't have a subway system. In fact, the pulley system, the trolley system that we used to have in the city of Detroit got destroyed because it got voted against by city council based on the lobbying of the big three: GM, Chrysler, Ford. Made the decision to end the city's mass transit system. So people can't really get around. Communities aren't very walkable because, of course, the city was built around the car. And then because there's such high poverty, grocery stores don't move into those communities. And so getting access to fruits and vegetables, to healthy foods is limited. You think about where major corporations put their high polluting factories. Well, they don't move into neighborhoods like Oakland County, just north of Detroit. They move into the city of Detroit because they know that those residents are poorer, and the ability of those residents to petition their local government to do something about it is limited. And so think about the impact that that's going to have. Breathing polluted air is going to have on asthma rates. Think about even access to basic housing, right? We know that Detroit's population grew during what we call the Great Migration of African Americans north from the south up into into cities like Detroit to work in Industrial Revolution kinds of jobs. And think about the jobs that they had. They were systematically lower paid, and they were the usually the dirtiest and most dangerous jobs. And then think about the housing that people got to buy. Well, at that point, segregation was completely legal. We called it redlining, and people could not move into certain communities. And then, even in that moment, right, you saw the advent under Eisenhower of the highway system, and the highway system built into or on top of Black neighborhoods, and it built a pathway for folks to be able to move out. Now, who got to move out? Well, under the FHA, the Federal Housing Administration, during the New Deal, redlining was basically made federal law. So the only people who could qualify for those housing loans to go buy a house in the burbs were white folks. And so you ended up having a mass migration of white folks out of the city of Detroit, leaving low-income Black folks in the city of Detroit. And then, of course, when they couldn't afford the property tax base to be able to pay as a city into their local government, the state called them profligate and then appointed an emergency manager that ended up shutting off their health department. All of these factors, right, are about the systematic crimes against people of color, the systematic patterning of access to resources based on who has resources to begin with that leave a community destitute. It's the way that the environment beats up on the host that leaves them so susceptible to the pathogen. And so it doesn't matter the outcome in the city of Detroit, whether it's death by COVID-19 or even infant mortality, it is going to be higher. And here we are. And now we've got a major pandemic that is exploiting all of the systematic degradation that the environment has done to the hosts that then leaves them susceptible to this disease. Now, you might ask, why is this guy going on and on about Detroit? Well, the reason I'm talking about Detroit is because it is a microcosm of the global disparities that exist and the kinds of crimes, systematic social crimes against groups of people that this pandemic is exacerbating. You know, in Detroit, it was structural racism and systematic poverty and segregation. But think globally. It's colonization and war and genocide. When I started today, I told you about my grandmother, a woman who was the middle of 14 kids, never got to go to school in a working class part of Alexandria. She lost 2 of the 8 babies that she had. Think about the history of Egypt. Think about the history of colonization and the kinds of resources that Egyptians had. And, you know, at that point, Egypt was, well, and still is considered a middle-income country. Think about what it looks like in low-income countries. The history of colonization and war and genocide against millions of people across the world. And now think about what COVID-19 will do to them. Because if COVID-19 is having a disproportionate impact on Detroiters, I want you to think about what it's going to do in the Gaza Strip. I want you to think about what it's going to do in Mauritius. I want you to think about what it's going to do in so many of the countries in sub-Saharan Africa. I want you to think about what it's going to do in refugee camps across the world. And this is why we have a responsibility today to act. Now, the work that we are here to support is work that is about trying to do our part to address the systematic global inequities, the systematic crimes against humanity that have patterned access to basic resources for such a long time. Now, we know we're not going to plug it all today, but we do know we have a responsibility to. And, you know, the advent of this pandemic in the month of Ramadan, we know that it's in the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but it's not a coincidence, right? The fact that we are dealing with this major pandemic in the holiest month on the Muslim calendar should force us to step back and ask ourselves, what does it say about our responsibilities right now? And what does it say about our engagement with our global ummah? Because I know this is a hard Ramadan. It has been challenging not to have the community at your fingertips, the ability to go to a masjid, the ability to even have iftar with your extended family. We're socially distanced, and think about how hard that is for us. And for a lot of people, social distancing means social isolation. One of the interesting things about my experience in my time in Detroit, and my experience traveling the world and working with communities who are affected by these large-scale crimes against groups of people, and who suffer every day the consequences of decisions that have been made tens of years ago, hundreds of years ago, who live in poverty, who face the kind of societal exploitation that happens in countries all over the world, is that they always ask, why aren't people paying attention to us? Why aren't people listening to us? Why don't people see us? And I think as we face Ramadan in social distancing, a lot of us are starting to appreciate just a little bit of what it might feel like not to have that attention and not to have those resources. Because we do know that Ramadan is about bringing ourselves closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the systematic choice of leaving those resources that we regularly have access to, food and water. And right now, we're facing it with the added challenge of social distancing. But what is the goal here? Part of the goal of Ramadan is to bring us close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by appreciating that in fact all of those things are from Him, but also appreciating that there are people in this world who go without those things every day, not as a matter of choice, but as a matter of circumstance. Ramadan reminds us that. And as we are facing this Ramadan in social distancing, as we face down this pandemic, and we know the impact it's having on our sisters and brothers, whether in faith or in humanity, whether a town away or across the world, we know that we have a responsibility to act. And one of the things that we do during Ramadan, beyond fasting and beyond our qiyam, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept them all, is to give. And the reason we give is because if this fasting, if this month is having its intended effect, it should be softening our hearts. It should be reminding us what we have relative to others who don't have. And if it's softening our hearts, then we have a responsibility to give to those who don't have, as a matter of circumstance, as a matter of a systematic inaction, as a matter of a set of systematic crimes that have been perpetrated against groups of people, taking away resources and leaving them bereft. COVID-19 is putting the squeeze on millions of people across the world. We have an opportunity to do a small part to be able to plug that hole. And I ask you today to do your part. We know the month of Ramadan. We know the benefits of charity. We know how many times, how many fold our dollars are multiplied with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We know that there is not an ounce of charity that we give that we will not be recompensated both in this life and in the next one. We know that as a matter of our responsibilities is to be asking, does my sister or brother have what they need to survive to tomorrow? And we know that too many people don't have those things. So I'm asking you today, do your part. This is an organization that is predicated on doing the work of being able to plug those holes, even if in a small way. And we know that for us, for our own souls, the responsibility to give to charity, because we know that what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us, He could choose to take away. And it is a matter of purifying the wealth that He has given us and of having the gratitude for what He has given us, that we give of what we have. And so I'm asking you to do your part today to be able to give somebody just a little bit of relief, a little bit of support in an extremely challenging time. And I want to end on a final note. It's not enough for us to commit ourselves simply to giving. We have a responsibility as Muslims to be fighting for a world where we are doing our part to not just solve those problems for folks, but to not just to solve problems of today for folks, but also to be committing to building a world where those problems don't exist in the future. We know, as Usama talked about at the outset, that these challenges that people face, the fact that people don't have healthcare, the fact that people go without basic food and shelter and water, the fact that this happens systematically in lower income countries that have been the victims of war and genocide and colonialism. We know that we have a responsibility to be building the world where those things don't happen. And so I ask you not just to give today so that you can address the challenges that people face, but you commit yourself this Ramadan to being a part of the work to build the kind of world that people know that they are going to be listened to and cared for and thought about, the kind of world where people don't go oppressed simply because of the color of their skin or where they live or what happened 50, 100 years ago. And so that work starts with us showing up today. It starts with us being willing to give a few bucks today as a down payment for the kind of world that we want to build, the kind of world that we want to raise our children and our grandchildren in, inshallah. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept your charity. I ask Him to accept our fasting and our qiyam in this month. I ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lifts the pain and lifts this this pestilence and lifts the hearts of all of us together. Because even if we are separated, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring our hearts together so that we feel the pain of our sisters and brothers in either Islam or humanity, and that we are moved to action in their cause in the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Jazakumullah khair again for having me.
Well, yeah, you know, Dr. Sayed, we really wish you continued health and protection through this, because your voice is very important. I'm sure you guys know that Dr. Sayed ran for governor of Michigan, and he has all of the tools to be an incredible leader. And I have no doubt in my mind that he will be elected to office because of his vision and his very clear words and service, his entire life of service, all the way from your family, the beautiful stories that you shared of your grandmother and your grandfather to today. And, you know, there's nothing better than to hear you speak about leveling the playing field and looking forward to how we actually pay forward the blessing that we've been given. And that, I think, is a good way to end tonight's broadcast. We're so thrilled to have you, Dr. El-Sayed. We are excited about your future. I think it's very bright. We ask Allah to protect you. Thank you for the beautiful dua. We ask Allah to elevate you and to elevate everyone today who gives because they've been inspired by Dr. El-Sayed and his incredible work. And the hope, inshallah, is that we can heal humanity together, that we can pay it forward, and that we can put our money where our mouth is, so that we can alleviate the burdens. And hopefully, inshallah, actually increase the total capacity for these hospitals and for the hospital workers to be able to do the life-saving work that they do. Thank you, Dr. El-Sayed. And thank you all for joining. And I know that everyone wants to eat, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of your iftars. If you're Muslim out there and you listening, you know, may God accept your fast, and may he multiply the blessings of anything that you give right now. This is the golden hour, guys. Other people are talking about the golden hour. No, this is the golden hour. This is the time that your dua is accepted. This time before you break your fast. Contribute now and make a very intentional dua. Make a very intentional prayer now for what you want for all of us. And may you all have an excellent night and a blessed rest of your Ramadan. We will see you guys next week. We'll be doing this in different time zones again, and we won't stop. We won't stop. You know, people talk about fatigue, you know, and the thing is that it's the job of organizations that help those in need to not get fatigued. We have to pick up where others drop off. And my hope, inshallah, is that you all will stand together with us. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And may you guys all, inshallah, pay it forward. You know, and to remember the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from Surah Al-Takathur. ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ. ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ. Verily, you will be asked. The la here of tawqeed, of emphatic nature. Allah says you will be asked about the blessing that you have. So make sure you pay it forward, even in something small. We appreciate you guys. Assalamu alaikum. Have a great night, everybody.